Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the June meeting of the Hong Kong Study Circle and Hong Kong Philatelic Society Zoom meeting. Yes, I think we have a very busy agenda today, and several of you have already written to me about they want to have something to present. Well, anyway, it's summertime, so I think we're going to have a little break. I think in August, so that we can take a holiday or something. So next month, the July meeting will be the last of or last, and then we have an August break, and then we resume in September. Okay, so you can have some time to prepare for the next season. So we call. Anyway, good to see so many of you, and I'm delighted to see. Oh, actually, Simon. Simon said you want to start your presentation instead of me or starting it all the time. Would
Okay,
you like to
no
do
problem.
that? Yeah, but you were usually the last person, but you usually have the most interesting things to tell. So you're okay to start first?
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem. Yeah,
or and then followed by Susan and anybody else if you have anything you want to show.
right.
Okay? Yeah,
Okay, let me share the screen.
right. So if I just let me see, just off my side.
So, can you see my screen?
Not yet because I'm still here. I forgot how to off it. Let me see. Sorry.
Do you see my screen?
No.
No,
No?
no, no, because
Okay,
because I'm still.
okay, let me try.
Yeah, okay, right, there you go.
Now? Now okay?
Right. You're still seeing my screen, is it?
Uh,
Oh, okay. What's wrong with the
Okay. How about now?
yeah,
I think I have to off this.
Still not coming up?
it's
No.
up.
Is it
Yeah,
up? Right. Okay.
Oh, you can see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you. Right. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity for me to present here. And I will continue my one day STEM one story series. And today I'm going to talk about the small KB of a Kowloon branch, and particularly the Michael Smith mania. And in fact, during the STEM packs in May, we had a meeting of the study circle members, and one of our member, PM Wong, shared a postcard with the KB base stamp addressed to somebody called Michael Smith. And then I think last month Zoom meeting, Andrew was also covering a bit about that postcard. And so I would like to follow on that topic and discuss more about that series or that yeah, that those Michael Smith postcards. Okay. Before that, yeah, a little bit about the background of small KBD stem in case someone who is going to visit this Zoom meeting afterwards in YouTube, they know what I'm going to talk about. Okay, the small KB c.d.s, in fact, KB stands for Kowloon branch, and that base stamp is quite commonly found and is well recorded and updated from time to time. For example, the Crewe latest book recorded the earliest date of usage of 1902, January 18th. And then the study circle, the World Cup 2014, is having an earlier date of January 16th of 1902. That date stamp is having an index at the upper part, A, B, C, D, E, or F, to indicate the time for dispatch or delivery of mail items collected from Kowloon Post Office. And in fact, index A is very thin and probably due to its using on mails collected from the light box. And I will talk a little bit more about light box in one of my latest slides. And low index error variety has been recorded. Okay, but in around 2017 to 2018, a number of postal stationery cards and also with a few loose stamps with the so-called record-breaking earliest recorded date, like January 3rd of 1902 with index A, and then January 9th of 1902 with index but reversed C error variety, etc. And a few of those postal stationery cards surface in the market, and in fact, those cards, those philatelic items, in fact, were illustrated and exhibited in some philatelic articles and also stamp exhibitions, and labeled it as important new discoveries or earlier than Crown, etc. And some of them even obtained positive certificates from BPA, and of course some of them fetched a very high sold price in the auctions. So I think what a mania of the KB/c.d.s new finds. But the question is that KB postmark genuine or fake? Okay, I in fact has recorded some of those cards all these years, and I'm going to list and show you of all my findings. Okay, the first one. This is the one that PM Wong was showing in the meeting of study circle meeting in May, and the date in fact is January 1902, and the address is MS, probably stand for Michael Smith, and addressed it to Imperial Chinese Customs, Kowloon, and the message at back is dear Michael, meeting 3 p.m. sharp, and the signature under it is AM. Okay, and in fact, January 19th is a Sunday, and to me it's a little bit strange or weird that that AM was trying to arrange a meeting with MS on a Sunday, 3 p.m. Okay, and then another one in the same venue, I mean the Hong Kong Stampex. There was a one-page exhibit, one frame exhibit in the Court of Honor, and in that frame of exhibit, there is an item, which is this one, with the small KB, year 02, and then January 11, reverse C variety, and the address is similarly Michael Smith, custom Kowloon, and this one, according to the owner of the item, it is having a BPA certificate. And on some loose stamps, I also recorded the same day stamp with reverse C and also January 11. The left and the right ones are in fact the same. I just highlight the postmark for easier illustration. Okay, next one, January 9th, also with reverse C variety, index C variety, and this one is from eBay, and the similar address, Michael Smith, Customs, Kowloon, and also one loose stamp with the same date and same reverse C index in my record. Okay, the next one, again, a similar date stamp, January 9th, reverse C index, and but you can see that the address is basically similar or not, if not identical. MS stand for Michael Smith, and then Imperial Customs Kowloon, and this one in fact it is illustrated in Journal of the Philatelic Association in Hong Kong, and at the back of the card, the message in fact was written, "Dear Michael, meeting cancelled, AM." Okay, I suppose basically all these cards are having messages like meeting 2 p.m., 3 p.m., or meeting cancelled. So I'm not sure why Michael and the AM were having so many meetings. I'm just curious to know whether those are business meetings or personal meetings. Okay, and anyway, nobody knows that. And okay, another one, a more interesting one. This one is having the so-called earliest recorded date, January 3rd, 1902, with index A. Okay, the address, again, Michael Smith, Customs, Kowloon. And you can find this one in John Bull auction, December 2024, last winter's auction, and under the Trenchy Post Collection catalog. And according to the description of that auction item, it is having a BPA certificate. Okay, and this one in fact is also illustrated on the front cover and described in an article of a journal of a Philatelic Association in Hong Kong, and hailed by the author as an important new discovery, earlier than past record by more than 10 days, etc. The content at the back: "Dear Michael, meeting 2 p.m. sharp," similar message, and the signature is AM. And okay, one point to note: the date of writing of the content, you can see from the top right corner, Kowloon, January 3rd. Okay, and the date stamp is also January 3rd. But if you know about the night box and index A, then you'll see that it is quite strange, because firstly, index A is not commonly found, and in fact, in my list of records of the KB date stamps, I do not have any record index A for the small KB, not until 1912. Of course, for the larger one, I mean the web type A one. I have records of a few stamps with the KB with the index A on it. But for the small KB, my earliest record is 1912. Okay, that means in 1902 to 1912, I do not have any record of KB with index A. So the fact, I suppose, is that index A, in fact, was associated with mails posted during the hours when the Kowloon post office was closed in the evening, and those mails were collected and handled on the following day. Because those mails, in fact, were put into a pillar box, or they call it a night box, and then the postal clerk will collect those mail items in the night box and bring it to the Kowloon post office first thing in the morning, before opening of the post office to the public at 7:30 a.m. So if the above card was written on January the 3rd, while the date stamp was also January the 3rd, does it mean that the writer, the sender, AM, was writing that card between midnight and the early hours before the postal clerk collected it before opening of the post office on the 3rd day of January, right? All right. Because it was posted one night before. The date should be the 2nd of January, and then the next day, January 3rd, the postal clerk collected it and they stamped it. So it is really strange to see the date of posting is January 3rd, while the card is having a date stamp of January 3rd. It is very unusual and very doubtful. And if you are more interested to know more about the night box, and I quote some a good description from Richard Whittington's article, Kowloon Postal Methods in Hong Kong Philatelic Society Journal number 23, 2019 version. And in fact, that night box should be the pillar box are located on the prayer near the Kowloon PO. Okay, and yes, and I am showing here a card in 1912 from B.M. Wong with an index A, okay, of the KB, and the date is May 2nd. You can see from the back of the card that the date of writing or the date of posting, in fact, was 1st of May. In fact, one day earlier than the date of cancelling of the stamp. So it is very reasonable to see one day's difference between the posting date and the date of an index A date stamp, because those items were put into the night box and was collected by the postal clerk next day or the next morning. Okay, another Michael Smith card in my record is this one, January 31st, with a normal index C index, and then the address here, the address a little bit strange, Michael Smith, Kowloon. Okay, content, dear Michael, meeting 3 p.m. sharp, and the name was revealed. AM in fact was called Adam. Okay, and yeah, the card was addressed to just Kowloon, and if I was the postman, I had an instructional mark, I will put it in sufficient address, retool or return to sender, because how could it be delivered to somebody in Kowloon? Kowloon is such a big and broad area, right? And I do not suppose that those mail items will be advertised and waiting for claiming at Kowloon branch. In GPO, maybe yes, but this is Kowloon, right? Okay, and other more complicated one is having date of October 31st, also the same year, 1902, index C, and this one is a registered card to London, just London, EC, I mean Eastern Central Zone, I suppose, also addressed to Michael Smith. And the content, dear Michael, please forward my belongings as soon as possible. But the signature, in fact, was Edward. Adam's name was changed to Edward after a few months. So, AM, Adam, Edward, were they different persons? Let's compare their writings. This one, the so-called earliest recorded date, January the 3rd. Okay, I magnified it, the writings like Kowloon, the date, and then dear Michael, and also the signature. This one, January the 31st. You can see very similar writings. And the October 31st registered postcard to London, the Edward one. I will say those handwritings were basically identical. I'm not sure you agree with me or not, but to me, they were basically the same. Okay, Then let's come back to this registered postal stationery card. A few doubtful points. How could the postman deliver this item to such an insufficient address of just London EC only? And maybe Michael Smith was so famous in that area that the London Post Office knew where to reach him in such a big area of London EC. Or the London GPO, in fact, was holding that item at the London GPO for and for advertisement and waiting for somebody to claim it. But in fact, there is a delivery date stamp on the back side. You can see something like London EC, December 4th, and the year. I'm not sure whether it is fake or genuine or not because I have no idea of the London postmarks.
It doesn't look too good.
Yeah, and also two more points. Was the rate 3 cents plus 12 cents correct? And also was the registration hand stamp, the R in circle, normally used during that period? Okay, I'm showing here on the right side another postal, genuine postal station card with an address in London. You can see that it is having more details like 14 Telford Avenue, Street Ham Hills, something like that, right? And it was just London EC. It's really doubtful. Another example, this one is also addressed to London EC. With details like number 5 of Bircham Lane, something like that. And you can see that the label, in fact, it is a big R, Hong Kong China label, not the R in circle one. And in fact, that is a purple rule, something like registered London kind of date stamp alongside, right? This is a more appropriate postmark. So the above points are in fact from the writings, from the address, etc. And for collectors, we usually compare the postmarks to see whether those date stamps are genuine or not. So of course I have done scrutinization of the postmarks. Okay, the left column, the Michael Smith postmarks, and the right column, genuine postmarks. The vertical line is the central line between the two dots, the top dot between Hong and Kong, and the bottom dot between K and B. Okay, the first thing to note is the index of the Michael Smith postmarks. It is quite aligned to the central part of the date stamp, while the genuine one is shifted a little bit to the left of the central line. Okay, firstly. And then secondly, the two horizontal lines I believe I deliberately draw these two lines, horizontal lines, is to illustrate the reset position of the month and date slugs. And you can see that the Michael Smith postmarks are having the month and date a little bit positioned higher than the recessed positions of the month and date slugs. And according to one of our member, the snug recessed position for date, month, and year were preset for die-cast date stamp, right? Positions were fixed and unchanged. I just quote Mr. Charles Chen, FRPSL. He wrote in his article in HKPS Journal number 29, page 31. Okay, so if the recessed position is not correct, then something must be wrong. Okay, and then here I nullify the date stamps. And luckily, I got an example of the same date of January 31st, 1902. you can see for yourselves what are the differences. Very obvious differences to determine that the Michael Smith postmarks are fake. You can see the numeric 2 of the year 02, okay? You can see a difference. The J of JA, and especially the 3 of 31st, totally different fonts. Okay. So I remember last Zoom meeting when I was not attended online, and in fact I visited the meeting on YouTube, and I remember somebody should be Philip, I suppose, asked the question, why did Andrew believe that the card is fake? So I also agree to Andrew's Andrew's point that those Michael Smith cards are fake, because I have done a lot of comparisons with the Michael Smith cards and also the real cards from KB. Okay, so my conclusion and remarks. My conclusion is that all those KB postmarks on the Michael Smith postal items are fake, and I'll call them the Michael Smith forgeries. Okay, as mentioned, the use of index letter A, the contents, the addresses, the positions of the index letter, the month, day slots, and the use of numeric fonts, etc., are all wrong. And yeah, my remarks. I'll say sometimes collectors and experts are having a mania for new discoveries, and I'm not saying bad things about them, but even myself, sometimes if I spot some new discovery, I'll be quite crazy in that particular thing, especially if that item or that postmark is genuine. Could be very useful for an award-winning exhibit or for fetching high prices in the auction, right? And yeah, but it's dangerous that these big items were so highly appraised by some prominent collectors, and some of them were granted positive certificates. And yeah, fixed items can never become genuine, even though they got endorsement by prominent collectors or so-called experts. And yeah, before ending of my presentation, I would like to quote something which I do not want to put black and white. One of our members told me that in fact he saw a pile of these Michael Smith cards, a pile. I asked the number, and in my sense, it is around 10 to 20. These got Michael Smith cards with different days, different variety of the index, some special errors, etc. from a seller in Hong Kong. Okay, and also later on, some of those items were auctioned in eBay. Okay, so I will not be surprised to see more of these Michael Smith forgeries coming up. Okay, that's the end of my presentation, and thank you for watching.
Simon, just one observation really, and I think your arguments and your analysis is very, very compelling. But if you just go back 2 or 3 slides where you had the comparison of the c.d.s's against that one there, if you look at the bottom right-hand one, which is a genuine postmark, the 3 in 23rd of Feb is different to the 3 in 03 of that same council. So that you got 2 different fonts of 3.
Oh, right. For genuine KB's c.d.s, the 3 for the year slot is different for the 3 in the day slot. And I suppose the victor will wrongly use the the 3 of the year's luck as the day's luck. As the
Simon, I think the 3 there is only upside down. If you reverse it, you will see the horizontal bar on top, and the 2, 3 are the same. Only one is upside down.
Yep.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
That's all right.
In fact, if you look at the 03 in the date at the bottom right-hand c.d.s, it is very similar to the 3 in the top left. Further down. I'm not saying it's compelling, but it was just something I saw as you were going through. 2 different versions of 3, or what looks like 2 different versions.
No.
Simon, I think one aspect of these covers is this person, Michael Smith, and there are registers of all the employees of Customs Kowloon and Chinese Postal and Customs Services. So I think you can check whether this person exists. In fact, I already looked some years ago, and but it would be good if somebody else looked.
And yeah, right. In fact, I've also tried to look up whether I could find any name called some Michael Smith in Customs Kowloon, but apparently the senior officials, among the names of senior officials, there was no such person called Michael Smith.
But there are registers of all employees, foreigners. Guilo.
Okay, no, I do not have such information.
Simon, just looking at that slide again. So if you look at the sort of southeast quadrant of the c.d.s at bottom right, the bottom right c.d.s, the southeast quadrant looks like it's a bit thicker than the rest of the c.d.s, and you've actually got the same c.d.s at top left, and maybe a little bit in the c.d.s in middle left. Again, I don't know if it's.
I think the okay, we should call it Michael Smith, small KB. I think it's definitely it's made of metal. I mean, well, yes, it's some hard. It's not rubber for sure or wood.
Yeah.
Somebody actually made a metal chop.
Yeah, and use some ink
to similar. Well, black is not difficult to counterfeit. There's one slide which is very interesting. It's the I think it's the 9th of January. If you go back to an earlier slide with a 10 cent, you have a this one. If you look at the 10 cent, do you actually see something? There seems to be something missing between the 8 and 9. It looks like there's somebody actually removed something, and you can actually see it. And then if you look at the this card on the left top, you can vaguely see there's a 1 in front of the 9.
Maybe it's due to the software manipulation of the colors and
yeah, that's what I thought, because basically it could well be that the c.d.s was originally like 19 or something, and he tried to make it different, and then just without cutting the 9. Maybe cut off the 9, or maybe use something to mask the 9, and there was a trace of the 1 left over, and then he maybe rubbed it off or something. It's very weird with the 10 cent. You can see this bit, you know, the certain things looks like it's been rubbed.
Simon, the slide that I was interested in was the handwriting comparison. If you could go there.
Yeah.
I studied graphology briefly and have some reference books on handwriting analysis, and there's some interesting differences. The very left D on the bottom there is completely different from the right two D, the middle and the right Ds.
Okay.
So that tells me that if this was all the same person writing this, they were a little bit sloppy on that left one or the other ones to forget that they had to change the D.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like the D in the left one is pretty distinct, and then the right one, it's a completely different way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also slant differences and line differences. Like, for example, he underlines Kowloon January 3rd and makes it very straight, but the other ones are sort of wavy at the bottom line. So these are all indications that somebody was playing around and
try to disguise the writing.
Yeah.
By writing it slightly differently. Yeah. Where some of the strokes are identical. The rest he tried to disguise. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very suspicious.
So Simon, Richard, I remember a while ago we did a joint survey of the small KB.
Yes.
And I think we allocated time slots to the index letters, but I can't quite remember what index C was. I think it's late morning.
You mean index A?
C.
Index C is something around
11 or 12.
Yeah,
or something
10, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And I noticed that you have reverse C's and correct C's from the same date.
I do not have a reverse C.
I think on your slide you showed 19th or 9th of January or whatever it is.
You mean here in this presentation?
I don't know. Not that one. That's the handwriting.
Okay. This is the reverse C, and this is the A, and this is the normal C.
Yeah. They have correct C's and. I don't know. I never like to say things are fakes or things like that, because some are concoctions or whatever and all those kind of things. But it's for the individual to decide, I think.
There's also a very interesting observation. If you look at the registered card, a dent was introduced at the H, first H, where
the producer in fact was quite
when was the damage? When was the damage occur? The real KB has a
it's around middle of the year, if I remember.
About middle of the year. And middle of 02. Yeah. So this one was so late, October. So he introduced a dent of the CD, just so hammered it or something to make it look convincing. Yeah, but the London one is just it's terrible. I mean, yeah, and then okay, maybe in Hong Kong there might not be that many Michael Smith around, maybe in Kowloon, but certainly I think in London you probably find many Michael Smiths. It's a very, very common name.
Looking so close.
Yeah. In fact, currently the postal stationery guy is called Michael Smith as well. So it's a very common name. Oh, well done. I think you must have left a few secrets you haven't told us. Otherwise, if you have said everything, the forger might decide to.
Yes. In fact, yes. I still have something I didn't show here, but I believe these points that I've just presented should be enough to convince myself that these
Yes.
are forgers.
It's good of you, because I mean, you know, it's quite possible that a forger might look at the might watch the Zoom meeting and decided to make a second type small KB forgery in future.
Andrew, are you inferring that, like in Agatha Christie mystery, the forger is amongst us?
No. Yeah. It's,
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
That's great. Thank you very much. It's fantastic. Okay.
Just going back to the register the R in a circle on that postcard.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being dumb, but I thought that at that period the labels were used and not the stamp.
Yes, right. You're right. Yeah, and like this one, right? Anyway, parents, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah. And most in my record, most of the postal items during that period are using the registration labels.
Yeah.
Good.
Interesting. Actually, I have. Let me see. Just give me one moment. Sorry.
You want me to show the screen, the slide?
Yeah, can do. Yeah. The date. What is the date of that card, Simon?
Which one?
The
one with the R on it.
This. Okay, let me see. October 31st.
1902.
Yeah. Yes, 1902.
Okay, so I have covers with the R label for the 8th of September 1902, 8th of November 02, 11th of November 02. So
yeah, with the labels, right?
Yeah.
So having said that, the circular R is also fake.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, but I didn't compare the circular R with others.
Unless it was used at Kowloon, I don't think so.
No. Not difficult to fake. Just the R. Okay, thank you very much. Any more questions before we move on to Susan?
Okay. That was fascinating, Simon. Lots of food for thought there.
Have you got a Michael Smith one in your collection?
Yeah.
I have to go and look.
I don't think so.
You might accidentally pick up one. I believe that those cards all originated from the UK.
Mine is just a small one with a a little query at the end about business reply service.
Mm-hmm.
I've got two examples. This is one dated 1988.
Yeah.
And it's got the postage due label posted in, it's got the Kowloon, Hong Kong hand stamp. And it's one of a bundle of 7.
Yeah.
And the charge was $6.30. In other words, they've charged 60 cents postage and then 30 cents fee for each of the 7 items.
Yeah.
So that was the system in 1988. Now this one's a few years later, 1991, similar system. This time they've used postage due labels. Presumably they hadn't got the machine to do this. 3 items. The postage this time was 80 cents per item and the 30 cents fee. So this seems to have been an ongoing system for a number of years. Now I've recently come across this one, which is much earlier, 1972.
Yeah.
But all that there is on it is a 10 cents postage due label. It was posted at Hong Kong at GPO, and then the label was cancelled at Kowloon City a couple of days later. Now, the letter rate at this time was 10 cents.
Yeah.
And the printed papers rate was 10 cents for the first step. So my query is, what was the system then? Because obviously there wasn't a fee for each letter at this time.
Yeah, that's right.
So does anybody have any idea what the system was at this time in the 1970s?
Well, there are a batch of these covers with just the 10-cent postage due, paying the actual postage at the time.
The postage.
Local postage at the time.
Yeah, so they've just paid the postage. So what did
So I assume
the businesses do? Did they have sort of pay so much a year, or
it could be a subscriber service that they pay? Just a wild guess that it could be a subscriber service that they pay a fixed fee, say maybe $8 or something per month.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked in some of the post office books.
Yeah, post office guide. You need a post office guide of 1972 or around that time to find out.
Yeah, I've got an update 1971, but there's nothing about business services in it, unfortunately.
And there's nothing about the service at all. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that you're right to say that the 10 cent is the actual postage, the local postage type, and but there must be a fee for this service. So presumably the fee was charged monthly or for some period of time, and it was never actually just paid in cash or something.
Yeah. I just wondered if someone knew about it. One of those little niggles that you want to know.
Yeah. Well, it only can be an assumption. That it's done that way. It can't be free. I mean, they charge, the post office charge for the service.
There must have been a charge of some sort. Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Good that you pick up. This is nice.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, maybe you could actually check up on if you find a 1972 a guide, the post office guide, and find out. Richard, do you have these? I thought you had a lot of post office guides in your library. You've been asking about these post office guides before.
Yeah.
But a 1939 one.
No, 1939 one. Yeah. Well, I think there's something in the post office guide about these business reply thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Is there any member or colleague around who might have still been employed by the post office in the 1970s?
Yes, we do have a member. Maybe next time I can ask him. Yes, we did. Yeah, we have. There's a senior. In fact, he's a senior member of the post. So it's quite possible that he knows how this actually the system actually operates.
Mm.
Yes, I was telling him, I was asking him how they calculate the postage due, the fraction markings, which is I don't think I've asked so many people and nobody knows. Maybe when I only saw him briefly, but twice on 2 occasions, and he was too busy either he was one at the exhibition and was too busy buying stuff, and the other was the AGM. He was too busy talking to other people. So maybe he seems very interested in our meeting. So maybe at one meeting when we meet up, I could ask him these kind of things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's an interesting guy. Worked for a post office for many years and now retired. And he's not quite the stamp collector, but he collects things like old photographs and newspapers and collectibles, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll investigate and see what that come of it. Right. Okay. So now. Right. So can you see? Okay. Right. So this is the little more not really a thorough investigation, but some Q&As and some interesting items that showed up in the last month or so. So okay. Well, first of all, you can see the 3 items there. 2 of them were branch office from Sai Kung with the skeleton. So we call it skeleton cancel for those who don't know about the skeleton cancel. That is actually you can actually assemble the individual the letters onto a blank c.d.s, and then it's usually used as a temporary cancel, and a lot of the temporary post office, like the exhibition post office, Jamboree post office, use this type of skeleton. They call it skeleton cancel. The one in the middle, I hope John Tang or Simon might wish to explain further. Why it fetch a huge amount on the internet, and then of the right one we actually discussed before. There's a recent mania about the branch office opening covers. Okay, there are several interesting things I want to talk about. This one, okay, I just received an email from a collector, and he's Indian collector, about this earliest letter from Hong Kong, which he read. He's a good researcher. He wrote for the London Philatelic a lot of articles about stampless material, I think, mainly. So he actually noted that the South China Morning Post of the January 14th, 2014 reports on the sale, inter-Asia sale, about this letter. This is lot actually 1001 of the sale, and you can actually find black and white reproduction in scams. There's a study, Hong Kong Studies Circle Journal 257, and then also in his pre-adhesive rate history book as well. And this is apparently Richie Bodley collection. So it's heralded as the earliest letter from Hong Kong, with actually Hong Kong written down inside as a letter. It says ship Fort William, Hong Kong, written in Hong Kong, 9th of September, 1839. And actually, it says the letter was written by John Robert Morrison, a son of the first Protestant missionary in China. It was written actually on a ship, but obviously the Hong Kong at the time was not a British colony until slightly later. And but this is, I think, is claimed to be the earliest letter with the word Hong Kong written inside, until the boss of InterAsia received a call from a European gentleman who told him that there is another letter dated 1838. So this is not the earliest. So we're having actually estimated at a wow price of 250K to 300K, and this lot was suddenly withdrawn. So from the sale. So this my email actually asked me whether I've actually seen this 1838 letter, or have you seen it, or has anybody seen it, or is this real or not? I mean, I don't know, but you see, that is one of the query of the email, whom you might be interested if you know whereabouts of this 1838, if it exists. Okay, so I don't have to explain too much about this letter. I'm sure that you can read it up. You can in Scam's book, as well as in the study circle journal. And obviously it was brought by a ship to India to put on the official mail and sent to London, and was redirected, paying the one penny. It's got a 1 penny paid post marking there for the local redirection. Anyhow, so that is just a Q&A item. So where is this 1838, or is there another one which is even earlier, or So that is the question. All right. So second item is a nice docket. Is an AR docket sold recently on the internet from Swatow to. It's actually the original letter was written by Fletcher. It's Fletch, I think. Yeah. Okay. Of Custom House Swatow, and he wrote a letter to London. Obviously, double registered the letter, and then the postage of the AR, the AR fee was put on this docket at the time, and then the letter would have the AR boxed AR mark on, as well as the registration mark, and the 10-cent fee for the registration fee. So now the question is, of course, have you seen the original letter? Fat chance, but it's possible, because it's a letter from Swatow. So it would be nice if one can reunite the two documents. But the another interesting feature is that the postmark, the actually cancelling the stamp, is different from the postmark of the dispatch office. Yeah, is one is the big ring, the small ring, maybe 21 millimeter, and the other one is the 25, I think, millimeter, the 1907, so-called 1907 batch of postmark. So why you use a different? Is it from the same office or from two different offices? So it's well known that Swatow has had two offices. One with the British consulate, which I show here and below, in the picture below, in the island called the Mayu Island. It is possible. It is quite likely. I'm sure Richard probably correct me. That the actually one of the Swatow agency would be located in the consulate, and this is actually the custom house of the island. So this is where this guy actually would have written his letter. So there you are. So with the well, one would have thought, of course, oh, it would be remarkable. You say, oh, this is actually they stamp this in the city post office and then transfer to the British consulate post office on the island. But if you look at the location of the custom house and the consulate, both were on the island. So anyway, but that's a remarkable document.
Yeah, that is an incredible item, Andrew. Yeah. John Wilson and myself did a study of AR and did it as a presentation at a society here in Canada. And John has one of those dockets too, with the 10-cent George V. I think his is from Shanghai. Yeah. But those dockets, you just never see them. I'd like to ask you if you could send me a scan of that. I would really appreciate it, because I'll compare it.
Oh, it was on eBay. John has. You could go and search. It fetched a huge price. So if you, I could, obviously I could send you the scan of this thing. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it.
Okay.
No, it's too.
I didn't see it on eBay.
I was outbid too.
Yes, too rich. Oh, you saw it too.
Yes.
I never expected it to fetch so much. I thought half of it would be more than enough. So I gave up. But it was a last minute bid. I think somebody put a double bid on, so his top bid might be even higher than the price, the realization. So anyhow, somebody.
I saw it as well, and just the price went sky high, didn't it?
That's right. It was just
I can't remember what it was, but it was a very big number.
Yeah.
900.
It was over 900.
That's right.
Sterling, yes.
Willard Ullman had one of these at London 2022. He was asking £3,000
really?
sterling.
Oh, not cover story.
No, Willard.
Oh, Willard. Oh, yeah. This
cover story had one for 600.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Willard wanted 3,000 for his.
Yeah. So all right. So this is from the Hemel Hempstead guy.
Yes, this is Pius.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of these. I don't know whether it's his own thing or it's a consignment, but anyhow, this is a very it's. I would like to have it, but the price is just beyond me. I'm sure most of you would like to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's limits.
Yeah, there's always a limit. But the problem with eBay is you never know what price you put on, because you never know the top price of that guy. If it's a buy bid, it could be £5,000 or something. You never know. Anyway, okay, right. And this another item. This is actually quite hard to see actually from the scan that the seller actually put on. But I think if you did some stuff on the software, you can actually see this is actually a letter from HMS Champion. HMS Champion is an 18. Professor Shaw has just arrived, who actually collects this kind of thing. I just wonder whether he bought it. Anyway, so this is a 1883 cover from HMS Champion in Hong Kong waters. And I actually checked the newspaper, and it was there. It was listed as the HMS ships amongst the ships in 1883. It was sent by a French, famous, well, this is a very famous French mailboat on which sailed on the 4th of December to Europe. So, see, what happened was the Navy. This is obviously from the Navy. The Navy could actually use a British postage stamp, and it is actually is a 5-pence stamp, which is equivalent to a 10-cent. The officer, the naval officers and the seamen have a concession rate, but the concession rate for officer was cancelled after 1st of January 1870. So the officer had to pay the same postage as the rest of the people. And but being actually sent from the British Navy, you can actually use British postage stamps. So what happened was the Hong Kong office didn't cancel the stamp, and this was cancelled on arrival. This is I think it's a London.
Yeah, it's a London transit.
Yeah, transit thing, and all sorts of transit Hawkhurst and Mayfield, I think Mayfield, Sussex, arrival on the back, and yeah. So but it's a little bit hard to see because it's embossed. I mean, it's not written on. Obviously, being officer letter, you do not have endorsement. You don't need any endorsement by anybody else. So this is quite interesting. It's a good one for Professor Shaw. I don't know, maybe he has already got it or he bought it already. Anyway, okay, let's look at some background information. So the HMS Champion, it was one of the 9 Commerce class corvettes of the Royal Navy, and you can actually see this is a little schematic diagram of the ship. You see all the gun positions and all the names actually of the Commerce class. You know, Canada, Constance, Cordelia, Champion, Cleopatra, Conquest, and there's 3 amongst. I looked up the paper, and amongst the list of the ships, Her Majesty's ships in Hong Kong waters, and also the Cleopatra and the Caracal was also amongst the ships there in Hong Kong. So they were obviously part of the China fleet. So you can see the picture of the ship, and it's actually a steamship, but it's also got sails as well to save coal. So it was actually renamed. It's actually there were the Royal Navy had 3 champions. The ship's called HMS Champion, and about to have the 4th one built in 1915. So the old ship was renamed Champion without the HMS, and then it was sent to other places, like it was sent to Chile. It went back to the UK, and then was eventually scrapped in 1990 in Blyth. Okay, so that's interesting ships with. Yeah, so it is, yeah, so this is a little bit background about the ship. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. This seemingly undesirable item, because sadly it's only a front. If it had been a cover, I think it would have fetched a lot more, because if you look, it's actually sent to Bangkok, which is a pretty rare destination. And I'm sure Thai collectors would kill for it, and then you can see there's a box to be sent to Hong Kong with a hyphen in between. So this is actually a proud record that this mark the earliest recorded date being November the 10th, 1871. So this is May 72. So it's actually more interesting about the stamps, actually. I don't know whether any of you collect the German stamps. I certainly don't. I actually looked up, and apparently these 3 stamps, the quarter, 2, and 5 groschens, are actually the first issue of the German Empire, and they call the nickname the small shield because of the smaller eagle here, and they were issued on the 1st of January 1872. So it's pretty early usage of these stamps. Plus the 2 high value, which is the 2 and 5 groschen. And for this issue, they actually have 2 denominations. One is the groschen for the North German Confederation or something like that. And the Southern German actually use Kreuzer. They look identical except the value. And you got 3 of the 6 stamps on this front, and only missing the 1/3, half, and 1 groschen stamp. It was cancelled. It's called the horseshoe cancel of Hamburg, which the mark itself actually is highly favored by the thematic collectors who collect things like horse racing or anything to do with horse, and you still see a lot. It's not a rare postmark, but they use a lot. They use this postmark for a lot of their exhibits. But the very interesting thing is the small shield stamps were replaced by large shield stamps in June 1872. So the small shield was actually only used for a very short period. How much did it fetch? I don't know. You look out on eBay, I can't remember. But actually, it's if it had been a full wrapper, entire letter, the sky part.
I've seen one like very much like that.
Somebody actually said that there's more than one. No, to Bangkok. I don't know whether that's true or not. But the other interesting thing is this two, which was crossed out. Have you seen it? Is it a German mark? It didn't. It's not British because it didn't go via England. So it just went straight down from Hamburg to Italy, and then by whatever ship, maybe French or British. So who actually put the two on? Austrian, maybe. Maybe is a currency, is a accountancy mark. Yeah, hang on. So, right, okay. So
there's about 5 specialist collectors who want this cover. The Germans, us Hong Kong guys, the Bangkok specialists, and also the forwarding agent marking. Is interesting. I mean, this is a really, really cool piece.
Yeah, I think the German collectors would have paid the most for it because of the stamps. And because of that's destination as well. I mean, you got two of the highest value and the destination. I mean, if you collect the small shield stamps, you just say, wow, this is a nice piece. All right, okay, so we move on to the next one. Much less glamorous, but quite interesting receipt with the 2-cent definitive or regular stamp used as a revenue, which is cancelled by cross. And the interesting thing is this is actually a Hong Kong electric company a receipt received from a captain for the presumably in the count the electricity, maybe it's an electricity account of $55, which seems quite a lot for in 1898 for electricity. I don't know whether this is must be monthly or maybe I don't know for more than a month or something. But $55 in 1898 is a huge amount of money. Anyway, a little information about the Hong Kong Electric Company. It was founded on 1st of December 1890, and the first power station in Hong Kong was secretly, I don't know why, secretly built on the side of an old graveyard in Star Street, Wan Chai. And in December the 1st, 1890, 50 street lights along the Queen's Road Central battery path, where basically this is now the central district, were switched on, and actually the lights actually went off because of some problems, and they fixed it and subsequently. So this is a interesting document.
If you want to know the French,
yes, I do. That's my next question.
I have paid Bastien. Bastien is the name.
Yeah, the name Captain Bastien.
Obviously, I have paid Bastien. Obviously.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
J'ai réglé Bastien. Bien entendu, is obviously.
Obviously, yeah. What's the last word? Bien entendu.
Entendu. Bien entendu is an expression meaning of course, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
all
Okay, thank you very
Well
much.
understood.
well understood.
Yeah, yeah,
but we don't use well understood. So yes, it's obviously.
yeah.
No.
Right. Okay. So, do you actually find a lot of these receipts with postage stamp rather than the revenue? Is there a 2 cent revenue stamp? I'm not too sure.
I think it's 1 cent, 3 cent, and then going up from there. I don't recall seeing a 2 cent.
2 cent revenue stamp. Oh, maybe they use the postage stamp instead. Yeah, but it's interesting that right. So how do you actually calculate is it just a standard 2 cent revenue for a receipt? You see?
Yeah, we need Barefoot's catalog to figure that out.
Like later on, it was 5 cent or later on, even later on, it's a 15 cent. It's a standard charge for the receipt. Yeah. Okay. So this is
Britain and most of the empire. A penny was what you had to put on a receipt until they gave it up.
Yeah.
Just penny on a receipt. I mean, obviously, each jurisdiction in theory could set its own receipt charge. So I don't know that necessarily says Hong Kong it was, but
But so the without a 2 cent revenue stamp, they would have used the postage stamp instead. Huh. Right. Okay. So this is
Well, actually, excuse me, Andrew. What's interesting is the square that the stamp is in is the exact size of the stamp. Those revenue stamps, if you remember, were much larger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this form was not created to use the revenue stamps.
Yeah. This is. I think I know who the buyer is. I think, although it's on the internet, but I think this is basically some information for him instead of he asking me later on. Anyway, so you got all the experts in the room now. So good. Well, anyway, okay. So this one vaguely familiar to you. This used to be one of the highest priced item on the internet, on eBay. Okay, shall we say eBay? I don't think it's got nothing to do with this blog. The reason I brought this up because our member Alfred Chu actually came. He came to see me yesterday. You know, he was in Hong Kong. He collected some journals. So we actually spoke about this blog, ex-Chu, ex-Alfred, and he told me about the story that he showed it to Richard, and said, "Oh, shall I send it to?" He said, "Shall I send it to the Royal or BPA for certificate to get a good price in auction?" So Richard said, "No, there's no need. I'll issue my own certificate." So this is actually a Richard certificate of this block. But where's the? I don't know who's got it. I think he said that he saw Gibbons bought it, but whether it's been sold or still with Gibbons, I have no idea. But it looks that the sale that the stamp company actually put this certificate. I thought that, oh my goodness, he actually tore a strip of 3 out from the block. But I think, he said I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the block is one block, and these strip of 3 is separate. So what it actually shows is the well, I would call it kiss print rather than double print of the 10 cent. The asking price was a £2,950, but I think there was a best offer, so it was accepted and sold just recently, 18th of June. Yeah, it's been there for, I think, I don't know whether you actually usually search for the highest realization, but I do, and I'm curious how much people paid. Especially if it's fake items, how much money they screw people out. So, but this was there all the time, and it's finally sold on the 18th of June. So nice item, except it's got a bit of toning on the gum. Anyway, but I'm so glad that he confirms that this is not actually part of the block. Because the block was actually, wow, how much it was? It's a huge amount of money, I think he did say. Right, so some first day covers, King George V Jubilee first day covers seems to be getting more and more valuable each day, and the latest, well, not quite the latest has dropped because of the toning, because of the condition. But this is a much nicer one. It's in March and in June. This actually fetched 900 and something pounds for this. Maybe because he hasn't got any it was the CTO more than actually something that went through the post. So I mean, some collectors actually collect first day covers, without any names on. So maybe perhaps that's why they paid this price. And then, of course, the passion for Hong Kong branch office opening covers, and I mean, Susan will be laughing. Yeah, you're going to offload your whole lot, the whole box. Anyway, so as you can see, actually, the pioneers of these the branch offices is well, there are two groups of people. One are the expatriates, people like Evans, Jack G, who else? The Felters. There's about 5 or 6 of them who actually work for the government and civil servants, and they have plenty of time and also the connections actually to obtain these covers, or maybe they send the clerk to the post office just to obtain the cancels. So these are all the opening day covers, and then of course the Chinese, you have Peter Scheck. This is also Peter Scheck. This is Peter Scheck, and then Chang. I don't know who this Chang is. No idea. Obviously one of the collectors, and then later on, in the really ones that you should look for are the ones in the 70s, because in the 70s, I would say most of the expatriate have left Hong Kong, and so only maybe Peter Scheck and maybe a couple others, other collectors were actually doing the branch office opening covers. So this one is from Li Muk Shu, is one of the post office near Tsuen Wan, up the hill, Tsuen Wan. And the first time that they actually use a single ring cancel, and I don't, and they are at that time the office was supplied with a double ring for a cancellation of letters posted as ordinary mail at the post office, and with a single ring for registered letter. But later on, the double ring was actually cancelled because most of the offices, because of the huge volume of mail, they actually sent the mail back to the GPO or Kowloon branch for processing, and they only did the registered letters. That's why some of the later offices did not have a double ring cancel, or they could have one, but they didn't use it. They put it. They put it in the safe. So there we go, and then you can keep looking whether our Hampstead guys still got some more of these things to put out, and how passionate for the collectors, how much they would pay. Right. Okay. So this is the last day operation of Shanghai Post Office BPO, and then I'm sure you have seen this before, and with the China overprint, and it's still ongoing. So I'm not going to say too much about this, and I declare that I have no interest in these. So if you're interested, go ahead. I don't know how much these will fetch finally, but we shall see in a couple of days' time. Okay, right. So that's my last slide. So I just go back to main screen. Okay, fine. Oops. Yeah, right. Any matters arising? Oh, how about Ingo and the journal? Anything about the journal?
Yeah. I've got, I had a meeting with Joe Trousey the other day. By the way, you're still on screen share.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just shut it. Okay. Right.
I had a meeting with Joe 2 days ago, and he's probably going to have 18 pages, maybe even 20 for the July journal. It's well underway to come out on time. I still owe him the write-up of our June meeting, and there's a few other things that he recently got in. So it's going well, but he's probably going to use up 90% of the material that he has for this issue. So again, ladies and gentlemen, please submit more articles. And short ones are just as good as long ones.
Yeah, try to make it on the units of 4, because then you could get a whole journal without any blank pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So multiples of 4.
Yeah. If we have time, I do have a very short 2-slide presentation.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But can I just jump in first? Because going back to your items, Andrew.
Yes.
Just briefly, the first item, the Hong Kong one, was actually in the Spink Connaught sale.
Oh, is it? Oh, let's go back to. All right. Okay.
Bodily.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it.
Okay.
But I've got all the details of it. But,
Okay. So it's a returned. It was returned. It was Bodley's. So it was returned to the owner. All right.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Right. Okay. Good.
Sorry, Ingo.
Oh, that's all right.
That's okay.
Yeah. Let me just close it again. Yeah. Right. Okay. So you've got something you want to share?
Yeah, you're still screen sharing.
I'm sorry.
I see your desktop. Okay.
There you go.
All right, let me share. Recent acquisitions. There's been all kinds of sales lately, and I also attended a number of shows, and I got some really cool Jusqua covers. I got other stuff too, but the Jusqua covers, which I've written about and presented on, are some of my favorite items. And the first one is from Spink. Their last auction earlier this month, or late May, I think. I got this by air to Office of Exchange, only going to Seychelles. So that's a nice destination. I'm guessing that the Office of Exchange would be Singapore, but I know Duncan is on this meeting, so he can correct me if I'm wrong about that. Trying to identify the Office of Exchange is always a challenge because they don't name it. But the rate is correct, and I just got it a couple of days ago, so I have to study who this Dr. P.S. Selwyn Clark is in Government House in Seychelles. There's no sender name, so I don't know who it's from. But anyways, it's a cover that fits my Jusqua collection, and it fits my destination collection. But the next one is a much more.
Selwyn Clark was the colonial secretary up until a few days before the Japanese came in Hong Kong, and he left on the last boat, and his replacement arrived on the last boat, and his term as colonial secretary before the surrender was about 10 days.
Oh. Unfortunate, the new guy who came in. Bad timing.
Yeah, he's been mostly in Stanley.
Well, he obviously survived because now it's 1947 and they're writing to him. Okay, so the next one is, to me, much more interesting. I was at a stamp show in Quebec City. They have a show called the Quebec City Old Paper and Stamp Show. And it's an amalgamation of philatelists and booksellers and people who sell ephemera, postcards, books, everything to do with paper. And it's a really, really interesting show. There's a couple of Canadian stamp dealers there that have lots of King George VI material. So I looked through like something like 900 covers, and $8.99 was this one. 25 cents rate for airmail to Dutch East Indies. I thought, okay, that's weird. And then I noticed the by air to Office of Exchange only marking, and Canada did not have Jusqua markings. So I thought, well, how the heck did a Jusqua marking come onto a Canadian cover? And when I turned it over, I know it's very faint and hard to see, but this is a Hong Kong marking. We're talking 1948. It's index letter 4, and you can't see, it's probably GPO. It's got to be GPO, but you can't see the full cancel very clearly. But what's intriguing is, so this would have been routed from Vancouver. It was from Western Canada, Calgary, Alberta. So it would have been routed to Vancouver and then flown to Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, they noticed that postage rate, 25 cents, that's a very cheap rate. And I haven't, again, this is a recent acquisition. I haven't been able to study the rate in detail, so I'm not sure how it worked rate-wise. But they figured with that low rate, it's got to go partially by sea. And they put on the by air to Office of Exchange only Hong Kong marking, and then forwarded to Java, to Dutch East Indies. So I believe that also in this case, the exchange office is Singapore, but Singapore to Java is a very short boat ride. So I don't know if it's somewhere else where the exchange took place. Where's
the destination? Whittington or
Dutch East Indies.
Yeah, which town?
Gory. It's a place called Buiton Zori or Buiton Gory.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's a lot of study on this cover.
Yeah, where is it in the well, now called Indonesia? Where is it? Is it the Jakarta end or the other end?
Yeah, yeah, that would tell a lot of the story. Anyways, it's the only Jusqua transit cover that I've ever seen for that went through Hong Kong. I'm sure there's more, but I think Hong Kong originating Jusqua covers, there's lots of them, but transit Jusqua covers is a lot scarcer. And because I got it at a Canadian dealer's table, this one was a lot more easy to afford than the Spink one. Anyways.
The city Buitenzorg is today Bogor, and it's about 60 miles from Jakarta.
Oh,
it's in West Java.
Yeah, West Java. Yeah.
Okay, so it would have gone via Jakarta, or at that time Batavia. Yeah. Anyways, that was a couple of finds. Thank you for watching.
All right, good. Well, lucky finds, yeah. So do you have your want list still? for your collection, your destination collection. Yeah. Yeah. Some
Andrew, I have something if you want to stay up.
Oh, plenty of time. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
Let me share the screen. Something. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether I'd make it today. I almost didn't. Last night I tried to put something together, so my apologies for errors or whatever f-ups that are included. But interesting. A lot of people have a lot of covers, pre-war covers by airmail to Canada from Hong Kong, but surprisingly there are a few different rates and nuances. So let's have a look. And the first rate that you come across, and this is the earliest recorded date going over the Pacific to Canada from Hong Kong, via ship down to Manila and then by clipper from Manila to San Francisco. So the amount paid was $4.45. The rate to the USA at that time was $4.20, and there was no official rate to Canada. But this additional 25 cents is consistent with later covers, but also it's worth pointing out that it's inconsistent with some other covers that were sent by the same route, which had $4.35, and then the following type. There are several letters sent on the first advertised mail by this route to the United States. And these covers were by President Pierce and Philippine Clipper and so on. And they had an additional $1.20 paid on them for some reason, presumably. Again, this was not advertised or gazetted. I'll speedily go through because I'm probably keeping half the Hong Kong people from their beds. And the next one that was notified was actually the rate to Canada, and this was $3.50 per half ounce, and that was by air throughout. This particular cover went on the last flight of the Hong Kong Clipper, which was from Hong Kong to Manila, where it connected with the China Clipper to San Francisco, and then onward to Canada. As I say, that was air throughout rate, $3.50. But there were also covers sent by sea from San Francisco, or by train perhaps. And this particular cover is interesting from a number of points of view, in that the sender paid $3.05, which was essentially the airmail rate to San Francisco plus 25 cents for the surface. Presumably, we have to say. And it must have been roughly correct, because the sender went in on the 1st of December to pay $1.05 or something like that. hoping that it would go by sea to America and then onward by air. And when he got to the post office, then there was a $2 stamp on the back of this cover, postmarked on the day after. So he was convinced to send it by the Pan Am route. The Jusqua marking at the bottom is quite unusual. I only know of 2 such examples, with by air to San Francisco only.
I don't think that's listed in Proud.
No, correct.
I'm gonna check my McQueen. Wow. Under what country would that be in the McQueen?
I think it's a McQueen Type 1, but he doesn't really go into that much detail.
Yeah, I've got one with the same cachet on, but it's being with Kano written in. So I think it's a Hong Kong mark. It's a Hong Kong
mark. Yeah, it is, yes.
Nigeria. It's just their handwritten in.
I've recorded this marking to any number of offices of exchange. Sydney,
yeah, okay.
Singapore, everywhere, including transit ones from China, where it only says by air to destination only. Anyway, moving on. The next one was a slight reduction in the rate to Canada in February 38. And this was a reduced rate of $3.25 per half ounce. Again, that was by air onward from San Francisco. Moving on, then in September 1938, the rate was aligned with the US rate at $2.80 per half ounce. Oh, thank you. 5 minutes. Yeah. Sorry, my McDonald's has arrived. Went cold. Joy. Right.
Ira
Okay.
Walker
Anyway.
was a famous producer of whiskey.
Does that make it taste better?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I quite like them. So. The next one is when the rate changed to USA, it changed to Canada, and up it went to $3.50 per half ounce. And here's an example sent by air throughout to Vancouver in 1941. An interesting aspect of this one is, of course, the RAF sensor 36, which is the Type 4. I think there are a number around, but there's only 2 sent to Canada. This one and another one in my bottom drawer. This one went by a Philippine clipper, and then through it went. That's about it. It's clear from what I looked at briefly last night that there are many different rates that were probably used that we don't know about. And as I mentioned earlier, the air throughout ones, they're fairly straightforward. But the ones where it just went to San Francisco and then on by surface, there must have been rates applicable throughout these different changes in the rates for by air throughout. So maybe hidden amongst our collections, we might find some of these examples.
Where would you find the official information on these rates?
Government Gazette.
You mean the Hong Kong government?
And also, yeah, and in the newspapers.
Okay, so it's just a matter of going through the newspapers.
Well, I think the base, well, it's not basic, it's quite a detailed framework. Was originally done by Duncan some years ago, and then he and I sort of updated that, but I don't think we've ever published that, to be honest. But there are a multitude of these hybrid rates which were accepted at the post office, but were never in gazettes. And I have not seen almost all of them. I've not seen in post office announcements in newspapers. So you have to sort of have an understanding of how they put them together. So, for example, the $1.30 post-war rate to America was $1, the air rate, plus 30 cents, which was the surface rate from Hong Kong to America. That was the usual way they did this, but then there are some deviations from that. And
it was a very unsettled period.
Yes, yes, it was. Okay.
Fascinating. But how can anybody actually stick any stamps on the? I mean, maybe some of the really odd rates, could it be, say, an error by the sender?
Sure. There's many cases, overpayment, sometimes underpayment, but which just got through. Sometimes they're philatelic in nature, so somebody might stick a $5 stamp on something which doesn't need.
That's right.
That much, please keep it for me.
Yeah.
Some are convenience ones as well, where it's instead of putting 5 or 6 stamps on, they just stick a 50-cent stamp on and overpay it by.
Yeah.
That's quite common on the European rates.
Yeah. So you really should, based on the documentation, rather than just by what's on the envelope. Because of this confusion of the payment, just.
I think if there's only one, it's a bit like what's a bona fide Jusqua marking. My take on that is that if it's from 2 different senders, from 2 different sources, not the same company or something like that, then that's a valid marking. But in many cases, you find actually they're just company ones, and for postage stamps, as we've just said, there's any number of ways of assuming something is what it is not.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. Right. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much.
An enjoyable meeting.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating. I never expect this meeting to be so fruitful and so much information, involved in the meeting. So, all right. Anyway, I think it is getting late in Hong Kong, and I'm sure that all of you enjoy the meeting. And
Andrew?
Yes, of course. I'd like to thank. Oh, hi. Oh, Ellis.
Hi.
Wow.
Can,
Yes,
can
yes,
you also, sorry, I'm being late.
yes,
Can I also ask one question?
yes. You want to
Yes.
show us something?
Yes. No, yes. Yes or no.
Okay.
And the first questions I want to ask Simon.
Mm.
So I see that Simon has done a very sophisticated job in identifying the forged Kowloon branch cancellation. But have you gone into details of when these forged items available in the market? So it could be a very good area if you gone into this, so that you can say that one day, well, these forged items are available in the market since 1990s, and it come to an end when Simon Choi has declared that it is forged. And so you can go into this area in the future. And yes, I have one. Yeah, yes, Simon.
Okay,
Please.
let me answer that question first. According to my information, those items appeared in the market in around 2017 to 2018.
Okay, I see. Was there any articles or any major high price item has auctioned in that period, so that provoke some stamp dealers or uh, someone who tries to make fortunes from these forged items?
In fact, I didn't buy any of them, and I was told that one of the channel, in fact, was in eBay, and another channel, in fact, was a stamp dealer in Hong Kong. But
I see.
I don't want to name it, and because I don't know him, and I've never visited him, but yeah, then that's what I heard.
Okay, thank you.
It looks
And
that,
yes, yes.
Yeah, it looks that it's from the same person. There's one forger who did the whole batch, and it also looks that the c.d.s is actually made of metal, and they use a very similar post office oil-based ink to stamp the letters, and then of course there's method of, I don't know what method he used to make the writing look like it's over 100 years old. And yeah, it's very, very bold attempt to fool everybody, and of course he fooled the expert, fooled the expert from issuing certificate initially, of course, but after two, there probably will be few more. And then they say, wow, how come there's so huge batch of it, and then maybe they decided not to issue them anymore, or maybe they used a fake certificate and those were thrown away. But anyhow, it's a fascinating area, and
okay. Yeah. And I also have only one item to show.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me show this. So you can see the items here. So it is a King George VI register stationery envelope. It is G size. It just happened in the eBay, just finished a few days ago.
Yeah.
So if you can, I will ask if you guys will spend $250 on US dollars on this one.
Wow.
Yeah. So on the face of it, yes, on the face of it, there was no any special, right?
Yeah, right.
So we have to look at the back.
Okay.
See here. So I think why the buyers wants to buy it at that high price
so much,
is yes, the change of the fee. So this should be the 10 cents. The 10 cents is the first issue of the King George VI. And by the time of 1939, I think it is the watershed between the 25 cents and the 10 cents. So because the sender is you can see the Postmaster General. So he must be aware of the change of the fees. So he make use of the old ones to cost the 10 cents and write the 25 cents on it. So I do not have a record with me, but according to the Hong Kong Static Circles on the documents, the first use of the 25 cents, I think is the late 1939. So this one could be, I don't remember when the fee was changed, but I think I think it should be a very earliest use of the 25 cents. I mean the extra fee. So I did bid on it, but I failed. Maybe someone in the meeting has won this item.
Yeah.
So Andrew, I want to ask, as a jury, will you think these items is very special ones, or
yeah. I mean, you have to do, of course. I mean, just showing it is not enough. I mean, you do some description, because nowadays don't expect the jury to know everything. I mean, you tell them, what's so special about this item.
Yes, but one more question is that
from a jury point of view, don't expect the jury to know everything. Like the old days, where.
But
yeah.
Okay.
For this item, for the rate, then it's not relevant. The 25-cent surface rate was already started in 1936. And for the 25-cent registration fee, that was started in 1937.
Yeah.
I think it's the fee for the
registration.
Receipt, right?
Perhaps.
You got a scan on the back?
Yes, this one. Yeah. Oh.
So interesting. The wise Postmaster General wanted to send somebody a registered letter.
I don't know.
No, it's possible that this Edward guy knew something about the change or something.
Yeah, yes, maybe.
The Postmaster General with say a reply coupon or something like that, or some cash or something, and asked the Postmaster General,
yes, it could be,
by favor, to send him something, for his collection.
Yes, it could be.
Can you show the reverse? I also saw this cover.
I saw it, but I didn't bother to look at the back.
Me too.
Yes, you on face of it is too expensive, right?
It depends what's on the back.
Yeah, it depends on what's on the back.
The first asking price is 150, and then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They asked for 160 already.
Yeah.
So the seller knew there's something special.
But it does not mention in the description.
No, because otherwise, for something like that, I mean, you I wouldn't pay anything more than $50 for it if it's a 10 cent. So you say was it a 20 cent? You say a 25 cent? Was it 25 cent?
25 cents, yeah.
With a triangular thing, flat or something. Is that the one?
No. Let me see.
Well, don't worry. I mean, if you can't find it, I'll look up on eBay.
25, yes, 25.
If you can't find it, I'll look up on the, yeah.
Yes, right. It's 25.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And that's all.
Yeah, sometimes you have to look at the front and some of what's on the back as well. So anyway, yeah, there's 160 actually. so that the seller must have known something special about this one. All right.
Yes.
Anything?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for actually showing us some interesting item, and do actually participate in our little meeting more often than you should. And I'm sure you've got a lot of interesting things. Now you're in Toronto, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in Toronto. You see, you got a potential competitors with all the Toronto guys. So yes, you have all the stamp shows and do pick up a few things and.
Yes, I try to, yeah.
Yeah.
But there were not too much Hong Kong items in the stamp shows or something.
Oh, ask Sam to sell you a few things.
Yeah, I try to visit him.
Huh? Oh, I'm sure he's got plenty to sell you. Right. Anyway, you should try to make it back to Macau next year. We have a show.
I'm not sure because I'm now applying for the PR. I cannot travel freely.
Oh, you can't travel so much.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. So, but the Boston, you should go. In that case, too many shows next year.
Yes, I try. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Boston in your not too far from you. And,
next year, right?
Yeah, for you. Yeah, for you it's not too far. For us, it's a long way.
I'll try. But you'll be there, right?
No, I don't know. I might do. I doubt it. It's too far. It's
okay.
It's I didn't go to a New York show last time, so yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow, well, it's good to see you again. And well, anyway, if there's no other matters, we'll call it a day, and we'll see you next month. For finale of this season's meetings. So I'm sure you all enjoy this season's meetings, and well, anyway, have a good morning, afternoon, and evening, and it's good night for me. And thank you all. Okay, it's goodbye. Okay, thank you. See you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.